In nature, there's a popular saying that if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, then it is a duck. What this is trying to describe is that there's not a lot of room for coincidence in life. When something looks like something, most likely it's that thing. Now, if you transfer that to whether we, the Igbos, we are the true Hebrews of the Bible, how many coincidence makes a fact? When you tell people that we are the people of the Bible, most times they will say, okay, this is a coincidence, it's a coincidence. So, brothers and sisters, how many coincidence makes a fact? I need you to give me a number. If you tell me how many coincidence that makes a fact, then I can give you that much coincidence we, the Igbos, have with the biblical identity. And will that make a fact for you? I decided to do this video as a compilation from my notes, because if you've been doing this work for a while, which I have been doing for years now, I do have a number of notes. When you're reading the Bible, reading the scriptures, you see so many similarities. So I just want to do this video as a compilation of some of the notes I have in the past. This will not touch on the things I've already said before in former videos, where I provided proof that we are the people of the Bible. I just want to bring these ones that sound like coincidences. And then anyone who is listening to it, tell me how many coincidences you need to make a fact for you to believe in your mind that this is our identity that has been stolen. Okay, let's go. The first one, in Igboland, for instance, if you want to say you have a dream, you say Ilonlo. What that Ilonlo means dream in Igboland. So they were saying we have a dream, it means that the verb and the adverb is the same thing in Igboland. Brothers and sisters, that's exactly the way that word was used in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Joel. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, in verse 28, he said, your sons and daughters will see vision, and your old men will dream dreams. That's exactly the way we say it in Igboland. But of course, it's a coincidence. Of course, that's what if you tell people that, they'll say, "Oh, it's just a coincidence." Okay, let's go. If in Igbo land, if you want to say that you beat somebody up, you say "Nge biga kanaro." What that means literally is that I will lay hands on you. That's to beat somebody up. Remember, in other languages like in English, right? If you say lay hands on somebody, that means you're talking about blessing the person. Okay, blessing the person or praying for the person or something. But that's not what it means in Igbo land. In Igbo language, if you say I will lay hands on somebody, that means you want to beat the person up. Children of God, you know that is the exact same way that word is used in the Bible. Let's look at the book of Nehemiah. In the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, the prophet was talking about those who were coming to deceive our people from keeping the Sabbath. And he said, if you do this again, I will lay hands on you. Okay? That's the book of Nehemiah. Of course, when you tell people this, oh no, it's just a coincidence. It's a coincidence. So you need more. Let's go. In Igbo land, there is clearly favoritism towards the first child, especially when it's the first male child. And that was clearly demonstrated in the Bible in Genesis chapter 48, when Joseph brought his two sons for his father Jacob to bless them. And from verse 14 of that Genesis chapter 48, we find that Joseph brought Manasseh, who was older than Ephraim, and said his father should bless him. And when Jacob crossed his hand, he put his left hand on Manasseh and his right hand on the younger one. Joseph said, no, this is the older son. You should put your right hand on him. The idea of blessing with the right hand or left hand, this is also done in Igbo land, exact same way. And the idea of showing favoritism in terms of inheritance and blessings on the first male child is also in Igbo land. That's the way, that's our custom. And right here, you're seeing it in the Bible. And of course, those who are smarter than us will say it's a coincidence. Let's keep going. In the Bible, there's a book that's called the book of Proverbs. This is the wise words of the Hebrews compiled by someone as words of proverb in the Bible. These are wisdom of the people. that is compiled. In Igbo land, we have similar thing. Inu, you call it Inu no Fundibo. That's the proverbs and the words of our people. It is not written, although there are people now who are trying to write. I think there are people who have already written some words, a collection of proverbs. If you sit down with elders and they are talking in proverbs. So we have a library, an oral library of proverbs. I know some of you who have been studying religion, they will say that it's Solomon that wrote the book of Proverbs. Anybody that has read the book of Proverbs will know that Solomon did not write it. One person did not write that. It's a collection of words. The words of our fathers is not written by one person. It's a collection of words, wise sayings of our fathers. That's exactly the same way we have it in Igboland. Inu no kundi Igbo. That's why we have the book of Proverbs in the Bible. But of course, people will say it's a coincidence. So let's keep going. Generally, if you are looking at maybe extra biblical literature, or maybe you're speaking with the Jewish people today, when they want to say that something belongs to someone, or that someone belongs to a household, they use the word Ben. For instance, let's say they say Joseph ben Judah. That means Joseph of the house of Judah. Ephraim ben Joseph. That's Ephraim of the house of Joseph. That word Ben, it shows that something belongs to someone. But in Igboland, it's actually not Ben. It's Be. That's the word Be. There's no N in it. That's what we use. For instance, if you want to say that Okeke Be Okafo, that's Okeke of the house of Okafo. Chukudi Be Nwafo. Chukudi of the house of Nwafo. Ifoma Be Nnamdi. That is Ifoma of the house of Nnamdi. That's the way we use that word Ben that the imposters have stolen and called Ben. It's actually Be in Igbo land. This is a similarity of what you see today. But people will say, oh no, that's a coincidence. So brothers and sisters, how many coincidences makes a fact? How many? Let's keep going. Okay, this is another coincidence for you. In Igbo land, when the word acho means greed, covetousness. That's what acho means. A-C-H-O-R. That's what the word means. In the Bible, in Joshua chapter 7, we are told of a story of someone who was greedy. And the items that he was told to destroy, he didn't. He instead coveted these items and hid it away in his tent. And that brought in a lot of katakata for our people, a lot of problem for our people. And after that was corrected, the valley where that was done, they named it the Valley of Acho unto this day. That's in the book of Joshua chapter 7 in verse 26. In fact, the entire Joshua chapter 7 describes the story. So the funny thing is that Acho is not somebody's name in the Bible. It's nobody's name. But that they call it Valley of Acho because this guy was greedy. It's an indication. It's an indication of greed and covetousness that this young man displayed to our people. And so the word acho clearly, and this is the exact same Igbo word for greed and covetousness. Okochicha. Acho, that's what is there in the Bible. That also is a coincidence. Okay. Let's go. Let's move away from the Bible now. In the book of Enoch, and I think I've said this before. In Enoch chapter 77, he talks about 7 rivers and 7 lands. In Igbo land, this is the way, if anyone who knows Igbo stories or Tales by Moonlight, or this one, we usually talk about Diagonal Sa, Damilina Sa. That means across 7 rivers and 7 lands, or 7 fields, or 7 islands. That's Agonal Sa. Damilina Sa, that is across 7 rivers. We always use this word. Now, it is right there in the book of Enoch, chapter 77. Enoch was describing a distant land, and he talked about crossing 7 rivers and 7 islands. We have the same words in Igboland, but of course, people will say it's a coincidence. Let's keep going. In the book of Jubilees, if you go to the book of Jubilees, in the book of Jubilees, chapter 5, in verse 4, it talks about the land of the living and the land of the dead. In Igbo land, in Igbo mythology, in Igbo sayings, we believe that there is a land for the living and there is a land for the dead. Okay, and in most villages, they have places where they bury the dead, or where they throw away those who've committed some kind of atrocities. They call it Ajofia or Ajago. It translates to evil spirit. So we have the land for the living and land for the dead. Sorry, it translates to evil forest. Okay, and that's Ajago. It translates to evil forest. And I know a lot of people are ignorant about this, so I'll do a video on evil forests and the concept of evil forest. This is present in every society all over the world. I'll do a video on that to explain it later in the future. But we have this, and this is present in the book of Jubilees, chapter 5, in verse 4. But of course, people will say it's a coincidence. Another one I want to mention, brothers and sisters, most of you have heard of the word that they call ephod, right? E-P-H-O-D, ephod. Okay. Now, if you go to online and type the word ephod, it will say it's a garment worn by the Levites. But if you read the Bible, actually, it's not really a garment. It's something that is carved out, made of a molten image, which the Most High said we shouldn't do. We shouldn't make images. It's called ephod. If you read the book of the Judges, chapter 17, verse 5, and if you also read the book of Judges, chapter 8, you see that it's actually made out of something, molten image or graven image. That's what they call ephod. That's the translation. In Igboland, we have something similar that is called ofo. Ofo is a concept of good and evil, and something similar to karma in Igboland. There's actually a tree that is called that is represented, and that represents this ofo. Okay. However, in Igboland also we have carved image that people call ofo. They put it in their houses, they hold it in their hands wherever they are going. This is a molten image, sometimes made from elephant tusk. And in the Bible, the Most High said we shouldn't make those anyway. But is it a coincidence that we have a molten image in the Bible called ephod, and in Igboland we have a similar image called ofo? Is that a coincidence? Well, you tell me. So how many coincidences you need, brothers and sisters? How many coincidences will make a fact for you? But let's keep going. We have a lot of this.